YouTubers, Mike Martins here with the Mike Martins channel. Guys, thanks for joining me. Thanks for being part of the channel. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing the videos. I kind of want to just make a specific video dedicated to consumption versus production because there's a huge misconception. I made several videos already before defining the private sector and public sector jobs, kind of breaking that down, kind of showing people the difference and understanding how crucial the private sector is to sustain the public sector. Now, I want to talk about consumption versus production. Now, what's been happening is I believe, like I've been trying to piece this together and kind of figure it out over time and trying to understand why countries want to bring in people by the mass. They want to bring in people just as many as possible. Like countries are looking to expand their populations and bring their populations. There was this thing that Australia, Canada, and a couple other countries want to double their population in the next 10, 15 years, but the locals living there can't afford to have kids. So it starts going towards more of a consumption versus a production. Now, I brought up a can of Pepsi here for you guys. I want to show you this can of Pepsi to you guys. Now, this can of Pepsi exists. It's been produced, and it's for sale. And it's made in, where was this thing fabricated? I think it came from somewhere. I didn't even see where it's from. But it looks like it came from Pepsi Cola. So it's made in Canada, right? So it's made locally in the country. Now, this is produced, and it's going to be consumed. Somebody, if I don't consume this, somebody will consume this can of Pepsi. Somebody will take this and drink this. Okay? All right. Okay, we agree with that. So this can of Pepsi. All right, now here's the deal with this can of Pepsi. I'm kind of fathoming or feeling that governments have been bringing in and trying to increase the population rapidly because they believe the more people that consume will help bring up the economy or prop up the economy, so to say, or create a consumption economy. Now, that's very dangerous to build off of. Like Canada's GDP, I read the article the other day for you guys, you can look at it. 80% of Canada's GDP is based off of housing, consume. So it's about production, but what are we producing? We're producing houses, right? Now, this Pepsi could be consumed by anybody because it's affordable. Now, governments believe, okay, well, if people can't come in and buy homes like they used to or come in and work a few years and buy a home and pay it off, we're going to have to start changing our angles. And I'm thinking that the strategy of governments, this is what I'm thinking. I don't even know if this is their strategy, but is to create more consumption because the more of these Pepsis they can make and more of these Pepsis that people drink is going to increase more people working because we are consuming more. We're not exporting. Now, exporting is down. We're no longer exporting like we did because we want to be green. But when you consume more, you go against the whole green strategy or the green tactic. That actually goes against everything that... But you get what I'm saying, right? A good country, or a country that bases its model off of exports and production, is a true to the heart economic. It doesn't matter how big the superpower is. It doesn't matter how much the trade is. If the people are in less debt than what the country owes or what the country is spending than what they're taking in, it doesn't matter how big the economy, as long as you have a sound, safe economy where everybody within that economy is producing and then consuming 30%, and the rest is being exported, right? Now, America's number one export, a lot of people don't know this, but America's number one export, believe it or not, is inflation. When America buys something, they just print off money to pay for it. And their number one export is inflation. That's why the American dollar is the reserve currency of the world, right? It is the most trusted right now, still the most trusted. People in Argentina save their money in American dollars. People living in Mexico save in American dollars too. Quite a few people. They're saying like 1 out of 25 Mexicans have an American bank account in Mexico. Or an American is like an American-owned bank account in American dollars. 1 in 25. So that's a lot of money that's out there, right? So production, delusionalized. Could it work? No. I don't think I've been, looking at numbers, looking at graphs, looking at just the debt some of these countries are in, and trying to figure out ways of fixing this problem. And the only way I could actually see, or anything that would make any sense, is to turn into a production-based economy. Right? So if we could produce this, consume 30% of it, and export the 70%, I think we do okay. Right? If we could produce, now let's say, but then you got these trade Mickey Mouse embargo, Mickey Mouse stuff like in Canada, where we give our wood pretty much for nothing to the US, and then we buy it back from the US at profit, all kinds of weird Mickey Mousing. Then this offers an expansion model for Canada to start creating and fabricating and taking wood to the next level, or taking oil to the next level. Instead of giving our oil to America and then we buy it back at profit or something, or we buy it back at profit to them. We don't want that. We need Canada to take the steps that it needs to produce, to excavate its own materials, for example, because Canada, Australia, a lot of countries are mineral rich. We don't want China to come in and open a mine. We want the Canadian proper to open a mine, or create a mine, or buy land and start mining, and then going ahead and taking it to the next level into fabrication and molten and melting and fabrication, and taking it from fabrication into designing. And then from designing and then exporting it, depending on what level of production it's reached, right? So if you want to make rebarb, then instead of just shipping out the raw rock, you start crushing it and smelting it. Then from smelting it, you start making the rebar barbs, and then you start actually creating different types of rebarb and fabricating it in factories, so people could just buy it locally and it's made locally. So instead of already paying the expensive prices they are paying for materials in Canada, they just keep it local. Might as well. We're already paying for it already through the nose. Might as well have it made local. Oh, Mike, if it's made local, you're paying a lot for it. You're paying a lot for it already. So you might as well pay the same and keep it local. So the housing market could be a feasible market if everything that went into the house was produced in Canada. So the doors, everything that's being installed into the house, and we keep building, was made in Canada. So we had factories all over Canada building all the parts to make almost any type of house you want. But that's not happening. And that's the problem we're facing right now. A production and consumption society. We need to build more cars. We need to do more than just consume. And that's consumption and production. It's really dangerous. I'm just thinking this is what the governments want with this whole open border concept and bringing in more people to consume. I want to know what you guys honestly think about the production versus consumption. I really want to know how you guys feel about that. Like, we sold off one of our biggest coal companies to China. We sold off one of our biggest gold mines to China in Canada. So we're taking away from our production. Then it starts changing things. Things start to change, right? And then everything that could be produced starts moving offshore, right? I don't even know if we even make our own cigarettes. I don't even know what's made in the country anymore. Well, look at Australia. I mean, I think their cigarettes are local, and that's $50 a pack. So consumption versus production. Production-based society is the way to go, in my opinion. It's the ace in the hole. Raising interest rates, having a healthy exports, having fair levies, having specific tariffs on stuff being imported into your country that's going to ruin your. Taking stuff away like Amazon and stuff that don't pay taxes in your country anyway. Oh, but we employ people. Yeah, but people aren't making enough to live. So we're getting into that position where they start taking over, but then the brick and mortar, like myself, we're the ones that are actually floating these bigger corporations, right? And it goes back to private sector and public sector. We talked about that a quadrillion times in the thing. So what's happening is, I think because we're becoming more and more of a production of a consumption country. That's why you're seeing these mass exoduses from cities, because a lot of homes are being consumed and not being lived in, right? And that's a major issue, and that's going to become a problem down the line. And people leaving cities, you're seeing the the market's already crashing all over Canada. You're seeing markets crashing all over Australia. And it's been crashing for a while because it's being melted up. I'm calling melt-ups. You're seeing these melt-ups. What is Australia produce anymore? I know they have iron ore, they got a lot of things, lithium ion, they got all kinds of stuff, but do they own those factories? Do they own those mines? Or are they foreign interests? What is the Australian and Canadian, what is the UK, the New Zealand proper still own to their name? What do they have? What are they proudly producing and supplying the world with, right? Anyways, comment below. I look forward to reading your comments on this production versus consumption. Just tell me your what you guys feel. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys for Mike in the Night. Oh, we're gonna have a Mike in the Night and a half. Click the link right here for Mike in the Night. Don't forget to tune in. Set your reminders. It's gonna be a good one. Thanks for watching, guys.